you made the transition from tight end to D end. Obviously, now you're back at tight end, your natural position. Probably more fun because you catch the ball. But for that however long period of time being a D end, what was that like? And what was that conversation? Because I remember I spoke to you once and you said you're talking to coach and you might play defense, but he was always joking. Like, it never turned out. And then next thing
Yeah,
I know, I'm watching. And I'm like, is that Marcus out there? He's playing DN. What's going on? Like, how did that all happen? Because it felt like it was going to, but it wasn't. And then it
yeah,
did.
yeah. So I learned so much, especially being under Coach Rump. I give him his flowers. He is literally the guru, for defensive ends. Guys like Khalil Mack, his own son, he's put in the league. So it's like being under him and learning so much, learning schemes instead of my position, you know, my goals and stuff like that. Like just learning schemes of the defense pretty much helped me out. It honestly opened up, a whole another type of mindset, kind of just understanding. So like, kind of just catching things for myself instead of, just being on tape like, dang, like I should have knew that. Like, okay. So, got somebody, coming off the edge, blitzing, stuff like that. Different tales. I learned stuff from, Blake Miller. I actually built a close relationship with Blake Miller. Um, so like, learning stuff from him, practicing against him week in and week out, it really just, exposed, a couple of things that like I wanted to grow in. And, just it was a couple of days where I was just like, okay, like that we could do something with this. So
Mhm.
it was great. I'm truly thankful for my time, playing defensive end, especially at Clemson.
You're talking about learning the concept, you're learning kind of the why behind it rather than just what you need to do to get to the quarterback or to force pressure. It's like, how do you get it? And you said tails or tells, I mean, like what would that be? Would it just be the scheme, how a team lines up, or would it be the tackle's position? Like, what's an example of, I guess, of a tell that you're referring to when you're watching film or when you're talking to coach?
Right. Just, tackles, have tails just like everybody else in their game. If he's looking right at you, he's gonna wind up blocking you, pass it into you. And kind of just knowing, the personnel, whether you have a guy who's going to, set you a certain way or, maybe play, to try, to not, give up, whether it's a sack, to you play to your personnel, and your playing style. So just learning how, O-line thinks, um, learning footwork, learning, how they set, learning my marking set, get into the quarterback. And then, also just probably I'd say, with tight ends, also learning more about the position I came from. And it's like, wow, I know that. So like
Okay.
it's cool. It's so cool.
Yeah, so you talked about having conversations with Blake, and I'm assuming you went after him a lot during practice, like being lined up against him. What were some of those conversations like? What were you guys talking about?
Blake is a dog. Like there was not a rep like, I didn't go all out against Blake. And that's simply because he was like, I need you to bring it. Whether we were playing against Troy or we were playing the biggest game of the season, obviously it will be the next game at Clemson. But, games like, LSU, games, where it's going to be an impact being made when it comes to, guys like he's going to be playing against like, Dylan Stewart, and face some a good amount of edge rushers. So he definitely needed the work. He definitely needed the effort, and I was all for it. So it was like okay, like iron sharpens iron type of thing.
Mhm.
So it was great, and Blake's really like cool, quiet, but like when you talking to Blake, like really, really cool guy.
Yeah. Did he bring out a different, I guess, animal while on the football field, going from quiet to you have to be a warrior when you're on the field, and he's playing tackle, which is
Yeah,
you
he's a
can't be
warrior.
messing around.
No doubt he's a warrior. I mean, just go ahead, look at the film. It literally speaks for itself. He gives it to you in the run game and in the pass game. And that's definitely something you look for, in a tackle. So
Yeah, and when you were going at him, was there like a moment where you kind of realized like DN is, DN is no fun. It can be hard.
I wouldn't even say no fun. I'd say like it was moments where I was like, yo, like this is like I see why like guys train the way they do, number one, and number two, um it's things you do, you do and certain things you don't do, especially with whether it's protection sliding to you or examples like that. So just learning the ins and outs of stuff like that. Yeah, that was amazing.
What were some of the things that you don't do?
I'd say, some things I did learn. There isn't a reason to really use a lot of finesse. I learned from Coach Rump that, finesse sacks weren't at, the highest percentage above, just going straight to a simple pass rush and, just simply, just long arming, and working off from there. And it's a couple of things, you could work from, a long arm. And it's not even about getting to the quarterback every time. It's about the effect you have and the pressure that you're doing. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, so hands, arms. I feel like your hands positioning for them as a DN. I mean, that's pretty much almost all the battle during the game. Was that something to it? Like learning just like where to put your hands, where to attack? Like, is it attacking the chest of the tackle? Like knowing how to get by them?
Ch Hands, is the biggest thing, in this game we play, but definitely at defensive end. I just start with the run game, your hands, feet, eyes, all of that matters. Um, And then, moving into, just rushing the passer, definitely just making sure you're getting that inside, chest peck, learning stuff like that, every day from guys like, TJ Parker, Will Hill, Jaheim Lawson, Cade Denhoff. Like, I mean, those guys played a big factor in just, trying to just make me a solid DN.
You're now tight end again. What you learned as a D end. I mean, what I saw tight end, like you cared about blocking first, which, I know whether whether you want to catch the ball or not, it's like you want to block first. That was your kind of your main goal. Having time at D end, did it help? Do you think it's gonna help you become a better player as a tight end, knowing what to expect and having been in their shoes before?
I think it's going to help me with just the mindset like, okay, this guy doesn't want to get reached, but, I'm still going to go out there and execute that. And knowing that, it has to be gap scheme sound, very great fundamental defenses, are gap scheme sound. So just knowing where he's going to be, because it's not about where he lined up first, it's going to be about where he's going to end up.
Mm.
And just I just say, they're the physicality, I feel like it's going to help. Definitely help, being in the trenches, a lot more, for every play. So it's going to help me, going back to tight end for sure.